everyone. My name is Jamie Vaughn and I'm a project manager with Trout Unlimited. Today we are here in Rockford, Michigan at Parkside Elementary School, and we are just feet away from Rum Creek. Rum Creek is a cold water tributary to the Rogue River watershed. The Rogue River watershed is very unique. It has a really productive, high quality trout fishery, and that's not necessarily unique to Michigan, but it is unique in that it is just a few minutes north of Grand Rapids, which has a really large population center. So many people can come and enjoy the natural beauty of the Rogue River, whether you're an angler or a paddler, a photographer, or just enjoy the wildlife viewing. But with that large population center, that does bring its stress to the watershed. More and more people are moving up into the Rogue River watershed, which means more development. And with more development, you get more hard and impervious surfaces. What that does is it denaturalizes the water cycle, and it impacts our cold water rivers and streams. So the Rogue is a trout fishery, and its tributaries bring in really cold water into the main branch, which makes it possible to support trout. Trout are a really unique fish. At Trout Unlimited, we really love and deeply appreciate the art of fly fishing for trout, but that's not the only reason that we care about them. Trout need really clean water to survive. They need clean, cold, healthy, oxygenated systems. So we know that when a river or a stream supports trout, we know that system is really healthy. So it's a good thing to support watershed restoration for trout populations. Here in Rum Creek, it does go through an urban part of downtown Rockford. Its headwaters start up near Luton Park, where it's very beautiful and natural. Some of the fish populations and communities that we'll see in here are brown trout, rainbow trout, and some brook trout. The brook trout is especially sensitive to cold water. They need really cold water temperatures and really clean water. And that's actually the only native trout that we have in Michigan. So we particularly love the brook trout and really hope that our streams can support those unique fish. So back in 2015, Trout Unlimited did a small dam removal project right here on Rum Creek, just outside Parkside Elementary School. So we removed some remnants of an old mill dam. And with the school right here, we thought it was a great opportunity to bring students out and to see that construction. And they were just super energized and excited to learn that they have this really cool trout stream right in their backyard, and really loved seeing that project. So that was kind of a great introduction to working with Parkside. We formed a great partnership with a 5th grade teacher, Tara Dezerbowitz. Her students were particularly really interested in the health of Rum Creek. And they wanted to know what the quality was like, what Rum Creek was like in their backyard, and what they could do to protect it. So we put together a monitoring plan, and we monitored the health of Rum Creek with our students for about 3 years. And we looked at macroinvertebrate communities. We used some chemistry tests to look at the chemistry makeup of the water. That would show us if there were pesticides or nitrates and things like that getting into the river. We also looked at habitat structures, so woody debris and things like that, where trout can take refuge from predators and find cold water pools to stay cool in. So overall, we found really good results. Rum Creek is a really high quality trout stream, but the students didn't want to stop there. They knew that that is a dynamic thing and that development is happening all the time. That same year, there was a big development happening on Rum Creek, so they knew that that water quality could change at any moment. So we continued monitoring with them, but they also wanted to take action. They wanted to know what they could do on their school grounds to protect this amazing resource. So that's when we started to talk to them about green infrastructure. We told them that green infrastructure utilizes native plants, and it's a really cool technique to use in small spaces because it's really designed to have a really big impact in a small area. So what we did was we walked around school grounds and tried to understand where water was falling and gathering on the property and when it made its way to Rum Creek. So we found this area where I'm standing now. This is a roundabout. So parents use this driveway to drop off and pick up their students for school. We're also next to a public park, so there's great public accessibility. And so what was happening was this area was all lawn, and there are 2 storm drains on either side of the area. So water was landing on the roof, it was landing on the sidewalk, the road here, the blacktop, and also the lawn, which kind of, because it has such short roots, just acts as a conduit for moving that stormwater too. So we identified this piece as a really great opportunity for some type of green infrastructure like a rain garden. So what we did then was try to identify some community partners to work with. Many of our projects at Trout Unlimited are incredibly collaborative. We try to rope in as many community partners as we can because it makes our project stronger and more diverse. There are more voices and giving us input into how the project can better serve the community as a whole. So this project was no different. We started off by working with LGRO, the Lower Grand River Organization of Watersheds, and they helped us get a grant from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, to do this project. So LGRO helped us get this funding, and then we partnered up with Plaster Creek Stewards. So Julie and Deanna at Plaster Creek helped us put the plans together for this rain garden. Julie did the engineered plans, and Deanna put together the planting plan. So we secured a lot of expertise and community support for this project. We were working with Tara and her class, as well as the faculty and other staff at Parkside, who really got excited and adopted this project. We worked with the city of Rockford, who helped us kind of understand the storm drain system and how these storm drains were connected to Rum Creek. And we also found a really great partnership in Miller Pipeline. So they are a pipeline company operating in the area, and they wanted to give back to the community. So they donated all of the excavation and construction of this basin, and they followed Julie's vision and really did a fantastic job creating that. So in the spring of 2018, Miller Pipeline's crews came out here. They had about a crew of 5 people working here for the better part of a week, really paying great attention to detail and executing this plan fantastically. So it was really exciting to have their help in that donation, and it also showed the community all these different kinds of people that care about water quality here in the Rogue River watershed. So we had a great cohort of community partners that made this project happen. So after the construction was done, the students from Parkside came out. We had students from every grade come, and whether they laid rocks in the 4x area, or spread mulch, or planted native plants, they all kind of got this feeling of ownership. And we really believe that when you can incorporate a lot of participants and community members and their voices, they can feel a sense of pride over this project, and it really helps sustain it into the future. As any of you that have done a project like this in the past, you know it's not just one and done. It needs maintenance year after year, and having that community support around this project was really critical. So now I will show you around some of the plants that we have here blooming right now.
Okay, so this is Jamie Vaughn. I am here at Parkside Elementary School. We are in Rockford, Michigan, and here's the school right here. This patch of lawn in this roundabout, this used to be all lawn until we planted this rain garden in May of 2018. So I will take you around. You can see here is a storm drain that connects directly to Rum Creek and was bringing non-point source pollution, rising water temperature because of the water warming up on the concrete here, and bringing in other pollutants into Rum Creek. And now there's a curb cut here, so water is being diverted into this basin, and you can see these rocks, and this 4x here is capturing sediment, so that is keeping that sediment out of Rum Creek, and that is a good thing because that can cover up gravel beds, which trout need for spawning. So let's take a closer look. All right, so here we have some beautiful butterfly milkweed. It's this gorgeous orange color, and it's really just blowing up this time of year. You can see here we have some art installations from some Parkside students, which I just think is so cool that they are including this rain garden into so many different disciplinaries and subjects. Some more butterfly milkweed here. Those are some asters that are going to be blooming soon. This is stiff goldenrod that is not in bloom yet. Let's move down further. So this is one of my favorites. This is Rattlesnake Master. It doesn't get a colorful flower, it just gets these kind of spheres, which I think is so different and kind of deserty looking. So it's surprising that it's a native Michigan plant. We have some Joe Pyeweed right here, which is really common in wet areas. You'll often see it around creeks and rivers. There are lots of different species of sedges here, which are really powerhouses for soaking up that stormwater runoff, as like many native plants. They're just amazing. They have really deep roots, so that stormwater can soak in through those little cracks that the roots open up, and take that water in before it enters Rum Creek. So over here we have some boneset, which is a beautiful white flower. We have some beautiful irises that were blooming earlier this spring. These are purple. Another one of my favorites is Monarda fistulosa. This is bee balm. It's also called wild bergamot. We have some rudbeckias or black-eyed Susans here. It's just amazing how these plant communities have just really established here and thrived over the last 2 years. It looks better and more full every year, so it's really exciting to see it this time of year. We have some purple coneflowers here, and those yellow flowers out on the edge, that is a coreopsis. And in June, there's just a river of yellow coreopsis on the edge of this rain garden, and it is really striking and really beautiful. It's really cool to have this beautiful and exciting landscape just outside of the school. So kids come out here, they actually come and maintain it with us. So in the spring and fall, we'll have a day where we come out and help them weed and continue to teach them what are desirable and what are plants that should be removed. So they are continued invested in this project and in the maintenance of this rain garden. There's so many beautiful colors in it right now. All right, so we'll exit this way. The iris is going to seed, which is really neat looking this time of year. And out this way, we have another forebay and another curb cut. So this is another avenue where water was entering Rum Creek. You can see the catch basin right here. So this curb cut was put in on this side too. So there's another pathway for water to enter. And the reason that this is so good for trout streams is that instead of this water entering Rum Creek at high volumes, at higher temperatures, which we know is damaging for trout, it can operate more naturally like a natural water cycle would. So it soaks into the groundwater where it gets cold, it gets cleaned and filtered, and enters Rum Creek more naturally. So lastly, community education is such an important piece of our projects. Through involving the community, like I talked about earlier, you get a lot of their engagement and buy-in, and you get to educate them. But we also use these public spaces as a great demonstration of what green infrastructure can do. So signage is so important. So this sign was developed by a company in Chicago called Pulse Designs. And we helped develop the language in a way that the elementary students could understand it. But it also has some really beautiful graphics too. It tells community members and parents who might be here that they can install a rain garden on their property. It talks about the definition of a rain garden. You can see the root systems here. I mentioned how turf grass is really a conduit for non-point source pollution too, because it's so shallow rooted, and these amazing deep rooted native plants help soak in that groundwater. Here's an example of some of the native plants that are in here. We saw a few of these today: the purple coneflower, the lance-leaf coreopsis, rattlesnake master, the showy goldenrod will be blooming soon. Here's some benefits. And then our partners are listed here. So Again, it's really important to take every opportunity in any project to educate the community, to get their buy-in, to get their understanding, and help them feel included in the process, because it just makes for a stronger, more inclusive project for all. So this is the Parkside Elementary Rain Garden. I encourage you to come check it out anytime you're in Rockford. There's a public park nearby at the Rockford Community Cabin, and beautiful Rum Creek flowing. So you can come here and get an example of a beautiful trout stream in just the backyard of an elementary school, and how the school has really adopted that amazing resource and taken action to improve it in a lasting way.
Thank you so much for joining Nicole and I on this field tour today. We really hope you've enjoyed some of the tools and techniques we've shared, and really hope that this inspires you to take on some water quality monitoring in your home watershed, or take on a community project in your community or on your school grounds. So thank you so much.